I'm Justin, and this is a big week for Tolkien fans. Like, huge. Like, every year, there's a thing called Tolkien Reading Day. Now, usually here in the States, there's a major convention happening this week, WonderCon, and we have done reading days and gathered a whole group of people at the convention to read Tolkien. We've even been in a huge, like, conference room, and everybody went up to the mic and took turns reading it. So that's how we've done reading day in the past, but it is COVID. So things are changing, things are getting better, but all the fans around the world have had to figure out how do we celebrate together. I am pleased to welcome Will Sherwood from the Tolkien Society to tell us what we're doing for Tolkien Day. Hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you very much for having me. Great to be on the One Net, One Ring. Sorry, one Net. Terrible start.
We are one net around the world.
A network, one might say.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me on. It's a pleasure.
So, what can people do to participate in Tolkien Reading Day? Because this is the first time that everyone around the world has a chance to kind of participate. Like, I understand you're doing you've got some talks with some Tolkien scholars and a lot of cool people going on throughout the day.
Yeah. So we've kind of been running it over this month. Between the Tolkien Society and the Centre for Fantasy and Fantastic at the University of Glasgow as well. So we've kind of centred it around three texts, so three extracts from The Hobbit and The Silmarillion have been released so far, with one more to go. So one more coming tomorrow, just to get people ramped up for the day itself. On the day, we have 3 live Zoom events that are going to be positioned throughout the day. So if I was talking from a UK time, we'd be talking about in the morning, so between 9 and 10 o'clock is our first one. Then there's one at the UK midday between 1 and 2 o'clock, and then a third one in the evening UK time, 6 to 7 o'clock. So it's completely free. Everyone is welcome to come and join. You can find out how to join by going to the Tolkien Society website or going to the Centre for Fantasy and Fantastic website. And yes, like you said as well, we've got a range of special guests as well, and scholars who are going to come and share some of their favourite moments from Tolkien's writings. We've had to try and celebrate the Tolkien community as well with these extracts. We wanted to ask the community to provide their readings, and at the moment they are available on the Centre's website. So if you go to the Centre's website, you can hear some of the excellent readings in a diverse range of languages. I think we must be about between 50 and 60 recordings we got all together from volunteers. So we're very thankful for them. So we'll be able to play some of those. And also the audience can engage with this and they can share their own readings. What does Tolkien mean to them? And because the theme of hope and courage, how does that resonate? How does Tolkien inspire hope and courage in the dark times that we are living in? For the UK today, this it's 1 year since the lockdown first went into play for the UK. So it's quite a big day for us at the moment, so close to the reading day. There's so much to reflect on and how Tolkien helps in these times.
Well, some would argue that the pandemic quarantine has made us all hobbits.
Yeah.
So yeah. It almost feels like this is the ideal societal function that Tolkien fans would prefer to live like going forward.
Oh yeah. I mean, seriously, the amount of food is just breakfast, second breakfast, third breakfasts.
Lots of reading, lots of fireplaces and hearths and reading nights and everything. So TolkienSociety.org, is that correct?
TolkienSociety.org, yes.
.org. And yeah, luckily all of our phones have world clocks. So you can easily just add. What is it? Would you add London for Greenwich Mean
Yeah,
Time?
for London, so it'd be great. So GMT at the moment, we by the time of the reading day, we won't go into summer. So it is still GMT.
Yeah. So according to my thing, you're going to have a talk at 6 p.m. London time, which would be about 11 a.m. Here in the West Coast, Cupertino, I guess. And two earlier talks in the day. So your phone can do a lot of work for calculating. So Tolkien Reading Day. How do people submit their readings?
So there are various ways that they can share their own readings or their own experiences. So one of the big things we've pushed is social media because of how dominant it is in society nowadays, and especially when we're all stuck in our homes. It's a strong mechanism whereby we can connect with one another. So there, it is possible that on Facebook, for example, you could be sharing your reading of Tolkien through a story. So you can do these stories, you record it, and it exists on your profile for 24 hours. And it means that we have permission, very thankfully, from the estate and from HarperCollins as well for these 3 extracts. So if you wanted to read these extracts, then that is absolutely fine. As long as it's on that story function. The same goes for Instagram as well, which is one of the other platforms we've been using. You can create these videos that last for 24 hours. And I believe they're called fleets on Twitter now. So even Twitter's got on the bandwagon of doing these 24-hour little clips or images. So that's one way that it could be done. You could simply be engaging with people via Facebook chats as well, WhatsApp. I don't know if Instagram does the call function anymore, but I remember having a meeting with someone that lasted 3 hours on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's completely free as well. So there's all of these options, and that is all of those additional things alongside the 3 free live events that we're running on the day, where we will be asking for the community to share their own readings.
So the big thing is everyone's encouraged to read, but we got to make it sure it's ephemeral. It's not permanently living on YouTube or anything like that, because there are so many official readings that the estate and everybody don't want to cloud the market with any unofficial readings, but they still want to let fans celebrate around the world.
Yes, definitely, and we made that very clear as well. It's just respecting the wishes of the estate and the publishers as well, and they know how passionate we are, and I think that's why they gave us that permission as well, because we know it's not going to stay on the social media until the end of time.
This brings up. I wasn't gonna. This just brings up a question I had for you then. Because a few years ago, we read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings live on Twitch over Christmas Eve.
Oh,
We got banned from Twitch because we got copyrighted, and the publishers said we don't want anyone reading The Hobbit on Twitch. So they take this very seriously. So it's a big get to have them kind of back off of the copyrights for a day. So fans can celebrate. But my question to you is, Amazon spending $1 billion on Lord of the Rings. Amazon was first a bookstore. Amazon is the biggest bookstore in the world. Amazon is the richest company in the history of the world, and now they have the rights to Lord of the Rings, and they're making a new series.
Mm-hmm.
How can Amazon, with all of their money and power and influence, and they own Twitch, they own Audible, and they own the biggest bookstore, is there anything Amazon can do to alleviate some of these creative roadblocks for fans? I mean, you think there's a world where Amazon makes a deal somehow and unlocks the concept of reading Tolkien aloud on Twitch, which they own?
never say never. There's always possibility for something until you're told no.
Do you think fans want that kind of access? You think we're at a point now where culture is driven around this video community and creation? And do you think fans would want something, want the reins to kind of be loosened so we can, you know, perform?
That's a really interesting question. I perhaps have to just establish that obviously this is my own personal perspective.
Yeah, we don't represent the One
Yeah,
Ring or the Tolkien Society. This is just two guys
yeah.
talking.
Education secretary hat off for a second from the society. Um, copy the questions around copyright, definitely. I think if there hasn't been something already that has considered how technology has developed, yes, those questions certainly should be asked. It's very easy just to go into a meeting and talk to someone and be like, oh wait, what's that chapter I read, or what's that poem that I read, and all of a sudden you could just have it there and we could be sharing face to face. How is that different to meeting in person? If it's a private event where you can make it private on Zoom, where no one can access, that's absolutely, surely that could be fine. This is also coming from a secondary school English teacher who is looking for resources and opportunities to do this as well without breaking copyright. So yeah, copyright needs to kind of reconsider what is breaking the law and what actually could be possible.
I mean, the rights to Tolkien's works have famously been strictly enforced. Christopher Tolkien, ruled with a strong fist. And most people will consider that he did great work. By controlling the narrative. And nothing but respect for that. But we're now here we're in the future, right? Like learning is distant. Everything's online. So I wonder if this year's allowance for Tolkien Reading Day, this idea of like allowing fans worldwide to read, but ephemerally, like do not media that disappears. I wonder if they're keeping track of the success of this year's Tolkien Reading Day, and maybe this is the catalyst to allow live Twitch readings. Like, don't save it on VOD, don't save it on YouTube, but if you're only live on Twitch, let's read. Let's read more. I think.
Well, like you said, if Amazon's owning that as well, and there was perhaps some kind of agreement, then yeah, if that's possible, we will have to see. We will see. It would be fantastic if the estate and HarperCollins were watching what we're doing with the text and engaging online. That would be fantastic. We'd love to see the estate of HarperCollins retweet one of the extracts or one of the adverts. It'd be fantastic to have them engaged and knowing how the community. I think that's the thing as well. Sometimes it's the case of, if you're on the I'm not saying that they are on the outside, but sometimes when you're on the outside of something and you have a perspective of what's going on the inside, so inside the community, sometimes you kind of lose touch with it. I know I've definitely felt that as well. And then I go back into a class, it's like, oh, wow, okay, those, that was not what I remembered it being, or that's not what I thought it was. So maybe reconnecting and seeing just what we are doing with the text and the respect that we are showing, and that sense of restraint that comes with the respect as well. Maybe we will see.
Well, yeah, and look, it's always top of mind anytime we get a new movie, right? Whether it was Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit trilogy, and now this show, which Jeff Bezos has said he wants to be the Game of Thrones of the now, right? Like they're going to make every effort to make this a cultural moment for streaming and television. So every effort needs to, for us, fans to bring it back to the text, to bring it back to Tolkien. No matter what liberties and creative visions they do in this adaptation, which Tolkien encouraged, but that's a whole nother discussion. We want to use this popularity to bring it back to Tolkien's text. And I think one of the ways the publishers and Amazon, who owns Twitch, could do that is make a deal so you can live stream on Twitch reading some of these books, and only live, so no VODs, no permanent records. But this allows a community to grow up reading together, you know, and we would have done this in person for, you know, the documentary Ringers, Lord of the Fans. They talk about how fan clubs for the last 80 years would gather at pubs and read together. You know, and as I said at the top of the show, we were doing group readings at Comic-Con, right? So how do we take this fan effort that has been happening for 80 years and now translate it into the digital space? Because of COVID, we've had to transfer everything into digital space. So I think there's an opportunity here. I hope Amazon and the publishers are paying attention to everybody. So it's on us as fans to make Tolkien Reading Day the biggest thing ever. So you are very much encouraged to read your favorite, read the extracts that they've posted at tolkiensociety.org, because we want as many people reading to show the people in charge that this is a thing that we want to continue doing together online. Am I off base here? Do you think fans want
definitely. This? One of the things we really wanted was to encourage as many people as possible to engage with this and react and share their thoughts, share whatever it is that in some way try that again. Anything in relation to Tolkien that somehow makes this theme poignant to them. And I think that's an important point as well. Yes, it's a Tolkien reading day and it's about embracing it and loving Tolkien. But there is that kind of theme in there as well about thinking about hope and courage, and why is it more important, or not that it is more important now, but within the space of the last year and at this moment in time, how does the courage and the hope that is shown by Tolkien's characters, and also Tolkien himself as well in his life, if we read his biography, he definitely had these traits. How can that inspire us at the moment moving forwards?
I mean, that's what it all comes down to. You know, Tolkien wanted to write a mythology for the ages to inspire a modern society, you know, based on the past, a unique vision, and inspiring the future to do good for each other. And I think his messages are more important than ever right now. So Tolkien Reading Day this week, the 25th of March. So everybody go to tolkiensociety.org and get your books out. Just turn your you don't need a big setup, right? You don't need like the ring lights and everything like that you see in my. You just need your phone. You don't even need a mic. You just need put your phone on your desk pointing at you and read and share your favorite thing. Final question, what's your favorite chapter of any of the books of Tolkien?
That's
first thing that came to mind. Don't think of
your question. I still think one of the most powerful moments for me that definitely stands out is still Bilbo going into to meet Smaug. It is inside information, and that was coincidentally the extract that we chose from The Hobbit as well. It's just the dwarves leave him, and he just goes in by himself, and he finds that sense of inner courage, and it's just he still does it.
Mm-hmm.
He stays true to his friends. He continues. He says, yes, this has to be done. I'm the one to do it. And he goes and does it.
No
You can
going back.
extrapolate from that so much meaning. But when you boil it down to its basic essence, Bilbo does what he needs to do for his friends.
Friends he just met.
Yeah, it's not even a year at that point. It's, yes, they've been through a lot, but
This pandemic has lasted longer than Bilbo's journey.
there we go.
So look what Bilbo accomplished in less time. So there's no excuse, folks. Like, get the poke in the arm and get out there on your adventure and save the world.
And if you're on that social media and you do want to follow and you do want to engage with us as well, please do. We're using the hashtag Tolkien Reading Day 2021. So please do share with us. We're wanting to see what everyone is doing as well. So please do use that hashtag, and then we can see all the fabulous posts and ideas and the stories as well that you have in connection to Tolkien.
Yeah, I mean the best way to get the word out: post it to your fleet, post it to your Instagram story, use the hashtag, but then tweet a link with the hashtag so we know your content exists. You know, the whole point is they don't want permanent records of the video, but they're giving us this daily allowance, you know, to play in the yard. So let's all do as much as we can. Let's show our quality, because let's show that Twitch, Amazon, and the publishers, that this is something that fans just want to keep doing, you know. And there's copyright safe ways of, you know, engaging the audience, and fans have been reading together for 80 years. So, you know, in a digital world, we want to continue it. Will Sherwood from the Tolkien Society, thank you for dialing in from across the pond, and thank you for putting this together. This is just going to be magical. And I know there's a bunch of Tolkien YouTube channels and big Twitter accounts and stuff that are involved in this, so I have no doubt that the day is going to be big.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tolkien Guide as well is doing a readathon as well. So if you're thinking, I've got to wait until that live event, which I've signed up to, hint hint, then chime into the readathon that Tolkien Guide is running. But there's also podcasts. See, I know that Music of Middle Earth has released their Reading Day podcast. Prancing Pony have released theirs. I think maybe Nerd of the Rings as well on YouTube is going to do one as well. So there's so much additional material out there for you to engage with and share your love with.
All right. You heard it here. Like, the community is going to have a blast with this. Tolkien Read a Day, March 25th. That is 2 days from now. So today's Tuesday. It's Thursday. Thursday, the best day of the week. So Tolkien Read a Day. Plan on joining any of the three or all three of Tolkien Society's panels, and look to all the popular YouTubers and podcasters for Tolkien Read a Day special content. And Will Sherwood, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for the invite. It's been a pleasure.
All right, I guess I should let Cliff back in the show. Let's see if he's online.
Hello there. Hello. Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello. God, how wonderful. How wonderful to be here and to have our guest all the way from England come in and share with us today. That's amazing. I am. Tolkien Reading Day, aren't we all? It's going to be great fun. It's always about literacy, and that's one of the components in our fandom, which is particularly special. There is more than one way that our creativity and our interests are centered on literacy with Tolkien, not just movies and video games and merchandise, and not just, you know, running around New Zealand visiting all the amazing spots where they filmed. It's really about the books and the great legacy of Tolkien's literature, after all.
Okay.
And it's really very satisfying that we get to celebrate his birthday on January 3rd. That's the big holiday for Tolkien Toast, for Professor Tolkien's birthday. And then we get Bilbo and Frodo's birthday on September 22nd. That's a wonderful event. But right now, here in late March, to celebrate the destruction of the One Ring, we get to have Tolkien Reading Day, and everybody is encouraged to take a breath and read their favorite stuff from Tolkien's pages.
Indeed.
It's the best.
You know what else? You know what else happens right now is March Madness. But before we get into
that too. That too.
before we get into that, Cliff, I have late breaking news, and I know you love it when I don't tell you what we're about to talk about. But we've got late breaking news, Cliff. I want to get your reaction. Because I think this is going to hit you good.
What? Is it something else that I don't know that I should know?
As of today, it just came across the wire that. Hold on.
What?
As of today.
Peter S. Beagle has won his lawsuit, and he now has complete control of his legacy.
Huh. You've got to be kidding. You mean that is amazing. Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen, the author of The Last Unicorn and A Fine and Private Place and Summerlong and wonderful stories and novels, the man who co-wrote The Lord of the Rings 1978 United Artists release. That was Peter S. Beagle, who most of you remember wrote the opening piece in the Ballantine Books paperback edition of The Lord of the Rings. That was Peter S. Beagle who wrote the opening note. You don't know how many years, how many decades that man, that wonderful, wonderful man who is so intelligent and generous with word and thought and deed. And now he finally gets creative control of his own Last Unicorn. That's the best. That's the best news I have heard in a long, long, long time.
Yes, he's been involved in a very dramatic lawsuit with his former manager, where his money was stolen. I mean, it's a classic Hollywood story where your manager and your agent ends up stealing all your money and taking all your rights. And
that's exactly. And you know what? I'm one of those people who was also fooled by that personage who will not be mentioned. I am pleased, greatly pleased, that this lawsuit has Peter S. Beagle coming back on top, to have that dignity for the author to have control of his own creative work.
It's great. He deserves it. He has set up a new corporation. To manage the rights ongoing. As you know, he's up there in age. Part of the lawsuit was elder abuse, and so he's won on all counts. And now he has full rights of everything. And
that is great.
So
that is great. Well, it's of course we mentioned this on our show because we, as J.R.R. Tolkien fans, are intimately connected with Peter S. Beagle and his works. Because not only do we all love The Last Unicorn, it was also animated by the Rankin and Bass animation studio in the 70s, and they did The Hobbit back in the 1977 era. Oh gosh, I'm dating myself every time I mention this, but it's true. It's amazing that that I heard that Fergie and other big pop stars were going to work on writing a musical based on The Last Unicorn, a big Broadway musical stage production. And they were going to do all kinds of amazing things. And they couldn't because the rights to the work was entangled in all this mess. And Peter S. Beagle now can make proper earnings off of his book sales and the royalties from the old film and any new projects that can come from it. I am so happy. He is a great guy, Peter S. Beagle, and he has been thoroughly entangled in Lord of the Rings and Tolkien fandom himself, and co-wrote the Bakshi film from the 70s.
So that's
good news.
Is it accurate?
Good news.
He's basically
very good news.
He's basically the first writer allowed to touch Tolkien's works after Tolkien died?
Yes. Well, two of them. There were two gentlemen. There was a first version of the script that United Artists had that John Borman had done, and it was.
But was he paid for that?
Hold on. There was a rewrite after John Borman's script was thrown out. Then Chris Conkling was hired by Ralph Bakshi, but then Peter S. Beagle told me when I interviewed him for Ringer's Lord of the Fans, he told me we had to do a whole rewrite, and I came in to work on it and redo what Chris Conkling had done. So those are the two writers that were on the United Artists version.
So after Tolkien died, Peter S. Beagle is basically the first. That's how talented he was. True. The first fantasy author allowed to play in Middle Earth. That's how important he is to the genre.
That is absolutely true. It was just a few years after Professor Tolkien had died. It was Peter S. Beagle who was allowed to get his hands to work on a rewrite of that screenplay. Yes, that's true. And that's amazing when you think of it. And now he gets control of one of the greatest fantasy stories of the late 20th century. The Last Unicorn is a tale deeply beloved by all Tolkien fans. So let's see what the future holds for Mr. Beagle. I am very pleased.
Very pleased. Cliff,
very pleased. That's great.
We also have breaking news as well from our friend who, Peter S. Beagle's been a friend of the One Ring for years, been many interviews. He was interviewed for Ringer's Lord of the Fans. You know who else has been a supporter of the One Ring is Hobbit actor Graham McTavish. He has been on our podcast at least 3 times at 3 different locations. He helped put together the Hobbit cast reunion during quarantine. He's always been a friend of us, and we're happy to announce that he is joining The Witcher. He is joining another fantasy property for Netflix, The Witcher. So that's really exciting to
Netflix
have
loves Graham McTavish. Okay, here's Castlevania, and there he is doing, this amazing voice work on Castlevania, and Netflix says, okay, come over here and work on our next big hit fantasy show. You're right. He's hit the golden goose there, I think.
That's right. And then before we jump into Middle Earth March Madness, I do want to point out, if you go to our socials, if you go to our Facebook page or our Twitter page, scroll down a bit, you will see this amazing interview with Orlando Bloom, and we also link to a new interview with Dominic Monaghan. And I tell you, you just have to read it to believe it. Orlando is just a wonderful person, and he not only he's living the elf lifestyle that we imagine that Legolas lives, and I think Twitter wanted to have a little fun at his expense, but you read this interview with Orlando of what it's like in the era of quarantine on his daily life, and it's just, eating healthy, practicing Buddhism, and being a good father, and that's all you want.
Getting caught by paparazzi swimming naked in the swimming pool,
right?
Katy Perry's backyard,
and being married to Katy Perry. So we have
That's
nothing
fantastic.
but it's just good vibes. Right? Orlando just exudes good vibes.
And I do agree that his work recently, his most recent work on Amazon Prime's Carnival Row, has been some really, really, really good acting from him. I'm not so sure about the entire show. I'm not sold on it. But I've watched about half of season 1. But Carnival Row is aided greatly and is really improved by Orlando's presence, and his acting chops have really improved. Looking at what he was doing as a 19, 20-year-old Legolas in Fellowship of the Ring, and watching him now in Carnival Row, my gosh, that man has matured as a performer.
Speaking of mature, Dominic Monaghan has an article in the Manchester Evening News, and it is an interesting snapshot of what his life has been like, since becoming a teenage actor and then getting cast in Lord of the Rings and everything like that. And it just goes through. Dominic is just very honest in what life has been like for him, and it just it's just one of those things that I just highly recommend going to our socials and finding the links to these articles, because it's two separate lives. It's two separate Lord of the Rings actors, whose first big break was Lord of the Rings, and just kind of seeing where both of them have ended up 20 years later, and how they feel about themselves, how they feel about the world, the struggles that they've had to go through, is just really, really interesting. And we know for a fact, and we just saw that picture from the pub from Tom Burgins, that these guys are as close as ever. And there's something about Lord of the Rings that made lifelong friends of the entire cast. And I have no doubt that Amazon's Lord of the Rings are creating these lifelong friendships, especially because they've all been quarantined for now 2 years on one show. I mean, just going through the pandemic away from family. It's amazing what both casts have gone through. But anyway,
indeed,
Cliff,
worth checking out for sure.
Tolkien Reading Day is in 2 days. It's on Thursday, but also what's going on? It's March Madness, and so let's get our torn staff together to talk about Middle Earth March Madness. Now, let me preface this by saying we've been doing this for many, 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 many years.
A lot of people are going to remember this as the most distinct and wonderful, crazy thing that we do at the OneRing.net, and a lot of newbies are going to be like, "What? What is this that you're doing?" Please, Justin, give us the whole context of what this is all about.
Well, Middle Earth March Madness has really kind of started many years ago by a passionate group of fans that were getting in on this whole idea of like taking the voting brackets, 64 voting brackets, and then we as fans vote them up into the final four, and kind of we're replicating that kind of that that March Madness experience that sports people.
Yes, it's not a basketball bracket. It's not really a competition, and there are no games being played on the court. But what it really is voting. People coming and checking out who's in a certain quadrant, who's in this, and then voting for who their favorites are. And we've done a whole variety of things. Favorite characters, favorite geographical locations, and then we've done lots of other versions, favorite characters, live action versus animated, all from Tolkien. And now this year we've got another different spin to doing March Madness. Shall we bring in our special guest?
All right, let's bring in the co-founder of the OneRing.net, Calisuri.
None other than Chris Parata. Hello, how are you, Chris? Good to see you.
You're muted. Classic Zoom error.
Classic Zoom. Wah, wah.
I can't hear him. Can you hear him?
Nope, I can't. I cannot hear him at all.
I can't hear him at all. Well, then let's let in some more staff members and see if we can hear them.
He looks like a rather well-groomed and well-dressed.
Hello, Kirsten.
And there is Kirsten, our dear green dragon, is here. Hey.
And Kathy. Hello, hello.
Hi.
And
I can hear Kathy just fine.
I do hear Kathy. And there is Kirsten, our dear green dragon.
I hear our YouTube.
Kathy, hello.
Hi. Somebody's got an echo going on there.
I do hear the playback.
Yeah, so who's got playback going on? This is so weird. Calisuri was working just before the show.
Well,
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Welcome.
Hallelujah. Who's ready for another great year of Middle Earth March Madness?
Woo-hoo!
I am. I'm ready. It's going to be delightful and fun.
I think so. It is, like you were saying, Cliff, one of our most active times of the year, when we go look at the sports ball world and say, you have a cool idea. But we're going to bring it back into fandom, and we're going to make it something interesting. So
Exactly.
And fun.
Exactly.
and fun, and no money involved. Well, on the side, we have some.
And to answer fans in the chat, that's Kathy with a C, Chris with a C, Cliff with a C, and Kirsten with a K.
Yes, Kirsten with a K. Yes. So
Ever the iconoclast.
so I'm not.
That's what the chat room wants to know.
I want to say something here about the process, because every year there's always questions about how did we choose the subject, how do we then put these. I'm not going to reveal the subject, by the way. So Kathy, don't tell anybody the subject yet.
Don't worry about it. I'm not talking. I'm scrolling.
I struggled not to reveal it a couple of minutes ago.
I know. So Cliff,
Yeah.
so we pick our topic, and then the staff activates and starts throwing out all these suggestions left and right. Tons and tons of emails. One of our great staffers, Pat Altera, she puts it into this amazing Excel document that allows us all to individually vote with like hundreds of options, and you get like all these things. I'll go into it a little bit, but ultimately it comes out. We have 64 contestants. They get seated by the voting, and then all of a sudden we have these crazy matchups that appear that just you just wouldn't expect. And so it's been exciting to watch. I got to give Kirsten and Kathy and Pat and the people. There's been a lot of people on staff volunteering their time to make it happen this year. I've sort of been sitting back waiting to make the tournament bracket. But now, we're close to being able to reveal it. So I think, unless, Kirsten, do you want to say anything about the process?
Not really.
Please.
You make it sound a lot more organized and carefully thought out than it
Don't
actually
tell
is.
them. Don't tell them anything else.
No, we're the swan. This is the swan on top of the river, and we're all the ones paddling below the surface.
Oh, good shot, Kathy. I admire your excellent shadows of fleeting shirt that you're wearing today. That's great.
Yes.
Oh yes, yeah, that's right. That was our one shirt we got out in 2020.
I bought a face mask of that.
I should have worn the shirt.
I've got 3 of them. I have a blue one, a pink one, and a green one.
Wow.
Of the face
Nice.
So I
mask.
figured if it was our only shirt for the year, I was going to get as many as I could.
All right. So who's ready to reveal this bracket?
Yeah. Let's
Are you guys
let
Wait.
everyone out.
This is always a big thing, right? Like revealing the topic of the March Madness. What?
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. It's always a big thing. Yes.
What are some previous years? Can you just quickly run through some previous years? Kirsten,
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Great
Hold on.
idea.
So let me pull up. We've been
Last
doing this
year.
since 2012,
Yeah.
right? So we're almost coming up on 10 years of Middle Earth March Madness. We have to do
Oh my
something
God,
big
next year will be 10. Oh my God,
This,
yeah.
this, is, this is the 10th. If 12 was the first one, then this is the 10th.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Oh, okay, well then great.
So
can
we
celebrate.
failed. So we failed miserably.
So we just say, and this is a special 10th anniversary one. Nobody needs
I did
to
put.
know
I would have
that.
updated the logo and put a little 10th anniversary
You have
edition.
time.
Well,
111.
You do have to make the E and Earth lowercase, but other than that, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
Please.
What
Yes. The lowercase
Details.
e.
details? First year was just coolest character essentially. We didn't know what we were doing, and Samwise Gamgee won.
Andrew in the chat room says he's got his Lake Town T-shirt on today. Thank you, Andrew.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yay.
nice. The second year was again. It was, I think,
It was
where they
characters
lived?
for the first few years. I
Yeah.
remember writing this up last year. I did an article that was a summary of all the previous years. And for the first few years, it was just characters. It was only after about 4 years that we started going, "Ooh, let's mix it up a bit."
So Gandalf won the second year. 2014 champion was everyone's favorite dramatic elf, Thranduil. And then 15, we had, let's see, Gandalf won again. So Gandalf's a two-time winner in here. 16, we had, I want to say Galadriel won, right? Hold on. Yep,
At one
Galadriel
point,
won.
At one point, we made a distinction between movie characters and book characters. Didn't we do that?
Yeah,
once?
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we started adding Silmarillion and stuff like that. Yeah.
Ah,
Sounds
And
like we have an
then,
elf bias.
And 17,
my art.
Aragorn. Aragorn
Bias.
came in and won.
Well, didn't
8
Samwise won the first year?
Yeah, yep, I said that one, right?
Yeah.
Didn't I?
Okay.
Okay. 18, Gollum won.
Yeah. Who would have guessed?
So that's interesting. What was that theme that year?
Was the 2018 was the year that we included characters that had just appeared, that were played by actors who'd been in the movies as well, right? So what we had was like Saruman and Count Dooku.
Oh, gotcha.
Andor
Okay.
and Ronan. So we took actors from the movies and we put the characters they'd played in other movies. So I think like Smaug was up against Sherlock, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was
Then-
kind of fun in 2018.
Yeah, that was
19, well, 19 was locations.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that's when Rivendell won.
That was the map March Madness, we called it.
Yep. Last year was best sequence from the films, but, and the Charge of the Rohirrim won last year.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
a hotly debated topic last year.
Yes, that Final Four was intense.
So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. You ready? Can you guys see this?
Mm-hmm. There it is.
Nope, I don't see anything. I just see black.
Oh, well, it should be coming up at some point, but maybe you won't see it. I think the audience can see it.
All right, go ahead.
There you go. Hold on.
Which is a bummer because then I can't talk about it. Oh, the sparkly lights.
All right. Reveal of this year's topic.
There it is.
Battle
I
of the
love it.
Best Dressed.
I'm not
In
sure
Middle-earth.
all of the characters qualify for best dressed.
I mean,
Oh,
it depends upon whether Alfred is in drag or out of drag. It really depends on that.
or how much clothing is actually involved.
Wait. So you're telling me that the battle of the best dressed Middle-earth, we're judging outfits?
Yes.
costumes. Specifically
Costumes.
costumes.
Costuming.
Wait.
Yep.
Wait a minute, isn't that something that our fandom really loves to do?
Well, so that's the thing, that like two key things to say about the category this year, the best dressed. One is that it's movie costumes. So in the end, we went back and forth about having interpretations of characters from the books that didn't appear in the movies as costumes in here. But in the end, we decided that they would all be taken from Peter Jackson's movies. So we're specifically looking at those costumes.
So naked
And-
second H Sauron is not on this list.
Not yet. That'll have to come in another year.
That's 2 years from now.
Oh
That's 2
my.
years from now.
I've said
Oh
too much.
my.
I've said too much.
Next Sauron. But so one of the things that we really wanted to do this year was to get people involved by showing us their cosplay. Because what we were really thinking about with the costumes is all the incredible cosplays that we've seen at gatherings and conventions and parties and things over the years. And so the idea was partly to pick characters from the movies that we've seen incredible cosplays from. And so what we're hoping is that, like if you have a cosplay that you do and your costume is one of the ones in the brackets, that you will campaign for your character by sharing images of your cosplay with us in the Facebook group or by sending them, and then we can chat about them live. We really want to see your versions of the characters. That we're going to show you the brackets in a minute, but it's like if you think a particular elf costume should be the winner because you've made a spectacular cosplay of it, let us see your images of that and then help your character to get votes. That's the idea here.
Question from the chat: are we going to have separate categories for men and women?
Well, we'll get to that. We can talk about how we've broken down the categories.
In a moment.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to stay away from this tree in my way, so you guys can see me. Just don't mind the tree.
Notice that.
It's so weird to have this tree like right next to me. Like it's sort of like in my way. But
yeah,
anyway,
I usually put Cliff on that box, so I apologize for.
I just thought I'd play around with it.
Wait, maybe I can put Cliff over there. Hold on.
No.
What?
Wait, one sec. Yeah, all right.
I was being facetious.
No,
please.
You're good.
No, Kirsten's there now.
Cliff, you're in the tree.
Okay, great. I'm in the tree with the bird pecking at my bald head.
Yes.
No, he's going to sit on it because I think it's an egg.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Oh my god!
All right.
I'll take it.
Okay, let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Before we show what the contestants are and all the brackets. Last year was a huge success for Middle Earth March Madness. I think it was the first time we'd ever done live streams like throughout the tournament.
Yes.
Where we had different groups of ringers come in and we debated the contestants, right? And we hope that you had a fun time watching us last year, and hope that informed your votes. So we thought, let's do it again this year. We're still in the pandemic. We're still under quarantine. And honestly, I think the Middle Earth March Madness was one of the most fun things to come out of the pandemic last year. And it was just a charming, fun way to connect with everybody.
So let's get to it. I'm putting up the next screen, Justin.
All right, let's do it.
Here is
so we have
the bracket,
ladies
and gentlemen.
Anyone want to speak briefly on why we broke it into these brackets?
Well, again, we were trying to decide how we would divvy it up, because of course there's all kinds of ways that you could share out the costumes and the characters. And one of the things we thought about again was, what had we seen the most cosplays of? So right off the bat, it seemed like elves had to be their own bracket, because first of all, they get more costume changes than anyone else, right? Elves have expansive wardrobes, so every elfin character could have like multiple entries in here. We had to whittle it down some, but we've seen so many gorgeous cosplays. In fact, I believe, Kalasuri, your one and only appearance in a cosplay was in fact as an elf.
No, no, I don't think. I think you're thinking incorrectly.
I believe.
I can vouch.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, he was Alfred.
I have a picture of you with my sister.
Alfred before Alfred. That's all I'll say.
I inspired Alfred.
On a future live show, when that particular character is up in a battle, we may have to share a picture just to. Anyway, so elves got their own category, and then the rest of it was just kind of judging how many there were of each particular type of character and what seemed to go well together.
So here we're going to talk over the bracket as we show it. So you can keep going first.
And in some ways, Chris's first cosplay was the reason that the filmmakers felt comfortable about putting Alfred in drag.
Yes.
So
when the co-owner of the website dressed up as Arwen and
like
Billy Boyd,
it's good for
Billy Boyd on stage in front of 5,000 people with a statue. Yeah,
that's what the fans want.
That's what the fans want.
Give them what they want. I mean,
Thanks, Chris.
always a major influencer.
All right, this may be a little small. The text may be small on screen right now,
into sections.
Yeah, we're gonna zoom in on each of these brackets, but just to give you a sense of the scale of the discussion we've had behind the scenes, trying to whittle down to these outfits. This is your tournament bracket.
So the other categories we have, Kirsten, you want to complete your thought on those, or do you?
Sure. So we want. So we've got humans and Maya there. We actually kind of wanted to call it Men and Maya because we like the alliteration of that, and we were thinking about the world of men. Glug. If anyone used to play the drinking game, where with the movies, the world of men was always a drink. But obviously that was where Eowyn fitted in, so it didn't seem fair to call it Men and Maya. So it's human and Maya. and then the baddies just all seem to fit well together. So that there's a villains category, and then we thought we'd put the slightly shorter people together in one category. So there you've got hobbits and dwarves. And again, it was sort of largely based on the fact that dwarves, generally speaking, don't have a lot of costume changes. Hobbits don't have many costume changes, etc. So that it was a little easier to narrow that down a bit. I mean, look at the elves there. I think Arwen's got about 5 different costumes.
Well, I think it's a girl thing because Eowyn, I mean, 3 of her costumes qualified. So
4, I think. I think we've got 4 Eowyn's in there actually. Yeah.
Coronation. You're right. Coronation, the white dress, Darren Helm armor.
Well, let's dig in. Let's dig in because we're not going to. Well, first of all, let me take one more thing with the bracket up on the screen here. Notice the dates. We're not starting voting until Monday, next Monday. We wanted to introduce this. It's actually very similar. We're actually a day ahead of last year's voting schedule.
The dates are at the top of the map, so we'll be posting this on all of our socials as we go down the brackets. But you can see the voting deadlines at the top.
The process will work like this: we'll post on theonering.net. We'll have polls essentially for each of these matchups. You'll be able to go in and vote on those individual polls to determine who gets to round 2. The round 1 will last from March 29th to April 1st. Round 2 starts April 2nd to the 4th. Round 3, 5th to the 7th. Round 4 is the 8th to the 9th. Round 3 is 10th to the 11th. And then the finals will be the 12th to
Oh, we're losing his audio. Your audio glitched out, but your video is good. Hey, before we continue, Cliff, there are people in the chat room saying that they're pretty sure they saw you as a character in Lord of the Rings. So are you unfairly in this matchup?
Wait, no. Am I unfairly in this matchup? No.
Like, do we have to not vote for you? Are we going to vote for you? Do we have to vote for you?
No. Good gosh, you guys are crazy. I was just a background actor. I was standing on the wall. I mean, I was wearing the same costume that all the other Gondorian soldiers were wearing. But no, come on, you're so hilarious. So funny.
One of the things to say about the dates, with it not launching till next week, again, this means that you have time this week to look at the brackets, to think about who you want to try and get all the way through to the final, and to seek out your old pictures of cosplays and get them, share them with us, put them on Facebook, send them to Justin, or send them to the One Ring. Why can't I think? Spy Master at the One Ring, or Justin at the One Ring.
And you can always slide into our DMs on Instagram and Twitter, and or just tag us in posts.
Perfect. And that way, you've got some time to start planning your campaign for the costume that you want to see win before we launch. And as Chris was just saying, the each time the new vote goes up, like the new bracket that you can vote in the next round, it will be on the website, and then on the day that one finishes, hopefully we'll be able to do a live show each evening for those to reveal who has won that round and debate what's going on into the next round.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sweet.
One of the things I was going to say when you were talking before, Justin, about how fun the live discussions and debates were last year in March Madness, it was as a result of those that we managed to lure Jim, aka Mad Eye Gamgee, into becoming a Torn staffer, and I know that he's going to be joining us a little bit later this evening. So that was kind of fun that he got suckered into joining those debates, and then we were like, would you like to be staff? And we have been making use of his skills and abilities ever since. So
yes,
yeah, he's been a great addition.
This is just fun. So let's dive in. Chris, let's take it from here.
So we're going to look at the first region close up, but I want to be clear on the voting. The voting will end when this show launches, because I've set up the last day as the 13th, which is a Torn Tuesday show date. So we will announce the winner of the 2021 Middle-earth March Madness. Best costume, battle of the best dressed, right here on Torn Tuesday.
Exclusive.
Awesome.
Exclusive.
Excellent.
Okay. So let's look at the first region here. Here, a little close-up, just to go through the brackets. Again, the brackets are chosen in the seeding, which for those of you who don't know sports ball things, seeding means the one with the highest chance of winning is usually marked as a number 1 seed, and the person or the contestant
winning the whole thing.
Winning the whole, coming out of the bracket and winning the whole thing.
Yeah, or a final four finalist is
so 16. A ranking of 16 means you're probably supposed to lose in the first round and not make it out. So the way we vote is the staff goes in, they assign a value 1, 2, 3, or 4 to each contestant. Each staffer has 4 votes for each of those values, a 1, a 2, a 3, or 4. So you vote in this category for your 4 favorite costumes and put a 1 in there. Then you vote in for your second favorite costumes and put a 2 in there. Anyway, it all comes together. There's a bunch of math. Yeah, there's a bunch of math and a bunch of things added up.
You put the higher number in the favorite, not the lower number.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that way. Yeah, one of those ways.
Either way, Pat's algorithm works.
Yes.
We put the numbers in and her spreadsheet does the math for us.
Exactly. So in this bracket, the Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Saruman is number 1. In this bracket, the Theoden Meduseld from Two Towers outfit is the 16th seed. So if you go to Vegas and bet, I think MGM is going to have open their books for this one for art this year, right? We arranged with MGM to do.
Wait, you're telling me
Yes.
the red sleeved Theoden outfit at Meduseld is 16th seed?
Yep. Versus Saruman.
But don't let that influence your voting, though.
Right.
Folks
You
at home
can.
watching. It doesn't mean when Kalasuri says so, we would expect the 16th seed to go out in the first round. Don't let that influence your voting.
Correct.
Well, and because that's usually a reference to a sports team, and usually the sports team that has lower scores is the one that gets the 16, and the one that has the higher scores. So that's an actual physical makeup, whereas this is just people that didn't compete in a sport to get where they are.
All right, so we're gonna have another episode on a special day where we're gonna debate.
We dig it. Yes,
we're gonna
100%.
debate because I have so much I want to say about this bracket, but I'm just gonna
already.
Yeah.
Already.
I'm offended already. So
we're gonna have another episode where we're gonna arm wrestle.
Yeah, like, come on, 16th seed for anyways, continue.
So as you can see, this is 4 of the 8 matchups in this division.
The 16
Here's a
is
great.
wrong.
Huh?
Oh no, never mind. No, it's not wrong. Never mind.
Question from the chat: is this Lord of the Rings costumes only?
Yes.
No
Films.
Hobbit.
No, there's Hobbit.
Oh,
Hobbit.
I'm sorry. Films. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the theatrical releases of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit.
Both trilogies.
No Hobbit slander here.
And I think
Correct.
that's not only theatrical. I think we may have a couple of extended edition costumes that have snuck in.
Oh,
there.
okay. Yep. So you can see you could preview some matchups. We'll try not to get into the weeds here. Mad-Eye Gamgee was kind enough to pull these assets, and then I just quickly put them into here. But this is a great, we'll go over these, like you said, on a special edition when the voting begins, and we'll have some, I'm sure, significant debates because, Justin, you're clearly wrong. So we go to the next one. And so this is the other 4 matchups in this. I think there's some clear winners here.
Kathy has gone to get Jim. And
there's Jim.
There's Jim.
I'm
There's Jim.
debating Bayon's right even to be in the humans and Maya category. I don't know how Bayon snuck in there.
No, but you know who I'm voting for, right?
Eowyn?
Just got a helm on.
So,
Yeah.
Jim, we're not, welcome, Matt I. Gamgee. We're not necessarily debating at this point. We're just revealing.
right. Looking at
We're just
matchups.
revealing.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
allowed to debate right now because
All right.
yeah, where this
Because
is
I'll pull out my sword.
we're just listing the contestants. This
But-
is the
but
weigh-in.
Major
I wanna
thanks and gratitude to you, Mad Eye, for gathering these images for us.
100%. I was just saying that earlier, that you compiled all these images for us. It was extremely helpful. So you rock, man.
It was fun.
Um,
It was fun. And I'm not
so-
at all politicking with my background screen at all.
We know which cosplay you're going to be using for your campaign.
That's right.
So here's I think there's a huge matchup here between the Eowyn and the Coronation Aragorn.
That's
I think that's gonna be a tough one. If I was to highlight any in this entire
Is
division.
Bard in here? Because I really liked how Bard looked.
No, Bard is not. He did not
Coronation
make it.
He was on the long list, but he
was
didn't
snubbed.
make it through.
Well, and you've got Aragorn in his armor, but that's not on the bracket.
Bard the Bowman fouled out early in the season and didn't make the playoffs.
That's
He
right.
didn't make
That's right.
the bracket.
His team
That's
had a
right.
COVID experience and they had to drop the game.
Exactly.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next bracket, which is hobbits and dwarves.
Okay, and this is heavy, so I'm taking it off my head. It hurts.
No, it's also heavy topics, what we're talking about. In this category, Thorin is a number 1 seed, which I find highly surprising. And Keeley is the 16th seed, which is not at all surprising. So,
But I have to say, and I know we're not debating now, so but some of the finest cosplays I have seen over the years have been Thorin. And
That is-
therefore, for that reason alone, I would have given him the number 1 seeding in this bracket, because if I'm thinking about, and like I know I'm repeating myself, but my thinking about this has all been about what cosplays have I seen, and I have seen some spectacular Thorin, a number of different Thorins. I've seen 1970s disco Thorin at Dragon Con. I've seen 80s workout Thorin, Jane Fonda workout Thorin at Dragon Con.
That
So
must have
I'm
been
hoping
fresh.
some of those pictures are going to surface in the campaign to get Thorin to go through.
So
Oh,
check this out.
yeah.
I think a standout here is somehow Samwise is at 13 with Gimli. I mean, it's a tough one, because
That is a tough bracket. Right
people
there.
are going to vote for a variety of different reasons. We can't make you vote a certain way. It's supposed to be best costume, but I don't know. My default is always like, oh, it's Sam.
And knowing the work that went into, the cosplay I've seen of Gimli,
Yeah.
from, you remember the One Ring Circus that performed at our Oscar party?
Yes.
Judy's costume was fabulous, and Thrain. The reason why, I made sure to put him into our brackets, and I'm so glad he made it in, because I've seen some fabulous Thrain. I have no idea how they wove the beard like that, but the cosplayer did it. It was amazing. 12 is wrong. 12 is supposed to be Mary.
No, we made some
Kathy,
adjustments, Kathy.
You're not looking,
You're looking at the old one.
bracket, Kathy.
Oh, I'm looking at the old one.
We've
Ow,
got
never
latest and greatest. Question from the chat room. Would Thorin Oakenshield mandate masks?
What, really? You want to go into this?
Anyway, continue on.
Here, let me drop. What do you got? What's that show from the 80s? Discuss. Like here, throw
Oh
a
yeah,
bomb out.
McLaughlin Group.
McLaughlin.
And
Also,
go.
Before we leave that last page.
Oh yeah, I'll go back.
You can invest effort into your Sam cosplay too, like this
Ah.
wonderful backpack that we got,
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
pants and sausages and a box of seasoning.
You had to talk about food. I'm hungry.
Scuba Steve in the
And
chat
I also
room.
have- Go ahead.
I was gonna say Scuba Steve in the chat room is absolutely correct in pointing out that this is the perfect year to have a debate on costumes, because the new 4K edition of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit allows us to see everything in the most brilliant video picture quality.
Oh,
Cliff,
you know,
you've seen it.
It's funny
Chris,
you
you've
mention
seen
that,
it.
Justin. It's funny you mention
Indeed.
that, Justin, because it's exactly the reason we chose it. You know, that is 100% the reason.
Yeah, the only reason.
Cliff, you're giving away your copy as the prize, right?
Oh, absolutely not. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Hold on. Maybe I would say when I watch these 4K editions, I have to stop sometimes and say, what? Because I can see, you know, previously I knew that Eowyn had a beautiful necklace, but now I can see the facets on the gem in the necklace, and I'm able to see things I've never seen before.
It took me months to find that stuff, because I went looking. I mean, when I was doing Eowyn costumes, I spent months digging, you know, every close-up of every image that I could find anywhere on the internet. But yeah, it took months to find those kinds of gems and everything like that. But you're right.
Are there any matchups here in this particular group of 4 that people think is going to be a hotly contested one?
The Bilbo's bathrobe, or shall I say his dressing gown, is an all-time winner. That is your all-time #1. In fact, I'm going to go to my closet right now.
I've seen you in that clip.
I'm going to put mine.
You have one
I'm
of
going to
those.
put mine on.
Yeah, you're gonna get yours.
I'm getting mine now.
These are all tough. I mean, again, if you get seduced into the dark side of voting for the characters you love, which, as Chris was just saying, you know, whether we're talking about voting on scenes or voting on locations or voting on costumes, it always comes down to what's my favorite character. It's hard not to be swayed by that. So it's really tough if you're looking at Frodo and Merry, and you know you're looking at Bilbo and Keeley, or it's really hard. Those are tough calls to make. And so for me, I'm going to have to try and really be a taskmaster with myself and make myself think about what cosplays have I seen that I've loved, and go with the vote that way, so that I don't just go, but I love that character. That's
when we encourage the people to send us pictures of their cosplay, we should ask them maybe to do a couple lines of the research they did, or the types of fabrics and the layering, because some of these costumes have more layering, like Feely. When I was researching that, there's at least 5 layers to his costume.
Yeah.
And
we've also got a lot of hair work with it.
Oh yeah,
mustache and
I mean, I made this shield back here out of a snow disc.
There you go.
I'm not kidding, but I mean, it's still a nice shield. I still can strap it over my shoulder and everything.
We're reacting to Cliff. Cliff is returning to screen in his Bilbo.
Dressing gown.
You have to wear that for the entirety of all of our live streams.
I have to say, it's my favorite thing. It was a special gift that was created by a great fan who follows our audience and has been with the One Ring as a fan forever. And her name is Caroline Knight. And I'm telling you, her cosplay is out of control. And when I see her at conventions, blow the roof off the place. And this was a personal handmade gift for me.
Oh my gosh!
For my 50th birthday. Remember that big party? And
well, that's weird, because you didn't turn 50 yet. You're like 30 something, right?
I have a magic portrait in my attic absorbing my age, obviously. But, yes.
You sure you don't have a ring in an envelope in a chest somewhere?
Right. I fully expect you have a ring somewhere that you're quite precious.
All right. Why not? Why not? I'll take it.
On the Hobbit cosplays, I'm curious if anybody's seen. Kirsten and I do DragonCon all the time together. The Hobbit cosplays are interesting because having marched in the DragonCon parade, just the general public looks at them and they confuse the names. What's iconic about Frodo versus Sam versus Pippin versus Merry versus Bilbo? And obviously, like in the Bilbo post-party outfit, you've got this wonderful red vest. That's really iconic with it. But if you're just wearing an elven cape and some sort of knickerbocker short pants with hobbit feet, you get confused a lot. So it's interesting. We've got Merry in his Rohan armor in this bracket and Pippin in his Gondorian armor. I have not seen those two played in cosplay that much. Maybe some of you, but
I don't think it's unfortunate.
I don't think I've seen a Gondor Pippin at all. So if anyone has done that, I hope very much that we might get someone in coming days sending in pictures. And what Kathy was saying before about sending research and all that kind of stuff, people can send as much or as little as they like. It's brilliant to see the research and the background work people have done. But if you just really can't be asked to send us all of that, just send us a photo. That's cool too.
So now here's an interesting, I'm going to move on to the villains bracket. Because this one's a little challenging for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think I had a conversation earlier with someone about the Balrog. Wait, what's the Balrog's costume?
We have a Balrog on staff.
Yeah.
I've seen Balrog
And
costume.
no wings, obviously.
So let's look at some of these
Balrog on staff
matchups.
has wings.
So are we voting? And this is where I have a and we need you know, direct the audience, right? Are we voting on the cosplay ability of the villain?
Here's what I found.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody wanted to tell me.
You asked a question. I would have loved to have heard what the answer was.
Wait. I turned it off. It was going to give me something so insightful. I turned it off. I should have let it go.
To me,
You know.
the answer is we're voting on what we like the look of best, right? What is the look that you love best? And even though some of these are very much effects, makeup, CGI, whatever else, it's what is the look that you enjoy the best. And maybe that's influenced by what you've seen somebody brilliantly cosplay, so that the look of this character is enhanced in your head because you've got a memory of seeing Nicole in her amazing Balrog costume or whatever it might be, you know, that enhances that for you. But
Look at
it's
this.
really just, what's the look that you like the best?
Look at these matchups in this division.
Wow.
These are insane decisions to make.
Yeah.
You have the Balrog in Sauron.
Does it get any older and more ancient evil than that?
You have the mouth of Sauron and essentially the mouth of Theoden, or Saruman. I mean, so you have like it's crazy. Like that. These, by the way, these were randomly put in there, folks. This
Even
was from
the Easterling Haradrim match.
Right.
Yeah, strangely appropriate.
Question from the chat: what part of Gollum's outfit are we voting on? The quality of the CG or just his thong song?
Well, I've seen people cosplay him, you know, with bald wigs, with little wisps of hair and stuff like that, and basically tights and leotards. You know,
we did debate a bit with some of them. We were like, can we put this character in as a costume? And in the end, the criteria was, have we ever seen anyone cosplay this character? If yes, then yes, they can go in. So I'm actually not sure how the Mumakil crept into the bracket. I didn't notice that one sneaking in.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me flip to that screen.
I've never seen anyone cosplay a Mumakil at number 6 there. I mean, that's quite a high seed as well. How did that get in there? I don't know.
I have seen a rider, you know, an Oliphant rider carrying a stuffed Mumakil.
Ah, well, there you go.
Well, he's right there at number 15.
We do have
Yeah,
a
he's
15
there.
seed.
Yeah.
I don't know how his ride got in there, but again, maybe we'll find over the coming days somebody will send in a picture of their amazing cosplay as a Mumakil. Who knows?
Probably of their, you know, Mastiff, you know, some kind of large dog with cosplay.
With the harness up on top,
Yep.
you know, for the riders. Whatever.
But you have some amazing matchups here, right? I mean, look at.
Yes.
I just.
The Nazgul and Lurtz. I mean, holy cow.
A bunch of people have just joined the stream. If you're just joining us, we are revealing the topic of this year's Middle-earth March Madness, which you, the fans, will get to vote on. Voting starts, Chris?
Monday. Monday the 29th.
And so we will have the link to the voting thing on the onering.net. We'll blast it on all of our socials. So for the next few weeks, you'll be voting nonstop, and you'll be telling your friends to vote, and you'll be posting pictures of cosplay of certain characters because you want people to vote for them. But Monday the voting starts. Today we're just announcing who is in the tournament.
Yep. So let's move off and get to the Elves region. This is our final region we're going to review tonight.
And this is like we get to the fashion runway portion.
Exactly.
This is the
We'll sit here for a second on the bracket.
Arwen and Galadriel bracket.
Oh, I spelled Galadriel wrong, right? We'll have to fix some of these brackets.
You did one of them, yeah.
Yep.
I've done that too.
Galadriel. That's her sister. I meant to put. You didn't see her. You saw her in the back near the tree.
Didn't she play Wonder Woman, Galadriel?
Cha-ching.
But
and again, we're not. This is not a tournament about the characters. We're judging their outfits. This is as close to Kardashian as the One Ring will ever get. We just want to look at what they dress and what they look like and their dress.
To illustrate that point, Justin, in this region, there are 6 Arwens. So the chances of Arwen being up against Arwen illustrates, Arwen, if Arwen's your favorite character, you have some tough calls to make.
And basically, if you've invested in Weta, you're winning.
I want to highlight in this first series of 4 matchups here, the only one that does not have Arwen in it is a pretty hard one, from my opinion. Like when you look at Elrond's costume, versus Galadriel's costume, that's crazy. You got 3 Galadriels. I'm sorry, in these 4 matchups as well.
This is great.
I first saw the movies when they first came out in theaters, the Galadriel, that number 1 there, was the costume I most wanted to cosplay. On my first viewing of it, it was just like, all the beading and
yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, particularly she's walking barefoot across the lawn, going to the fountain, and everything. So you get to see that close up of every bit of that dress. Yeah.
I'm in particularly, for some odd reason, I'm drawn to the Arwen red dress.
Yeah.
Odd.
Cosplay? Ever seen a good cosplay of that?
I don't think I have seen a good cosplay of that, for sure. I have seen that. I definitely haven't seen a good cosplay of it.
Nadia in the chat says, time to search for the pictures of Arwen and Aragorn cosplay I did with my boyfriend in Halloween. Yes, let's see them.
Find the pictures.
The number 8 seed is the it's on the bridge, Arwen.
Sorry, hold on, I'm going back. There we go.
And the number 14 on the next page is the dream sequence with Aragorn and Arwen. So you do get some of those in there.
Man, you're right. We have, Arwen is
Thranduil
in
is
6
untouchable.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that Thranduil will definitely, he's a number 3 seed. He's got a lot of power. We'll see.
That's a great matchup, because that dream sequence, that light lavender dream dress that Arwen has, is probably the most memorable for me, for some reason, and it's probably because he wakes up kissing the horse, and I expected the horse to be wearing the same dress. I actually thought the horse.
Poor Brago.
I thought that horse was going to be in the exact same threads as she was wearing. To make it more complete.
I think we need to find a red carpet Oscar host that talks about dresses to join us on these, because not a Lord of the Rings fan at all, right?
Pure fashion
to help add some color to our commentary, because we're all biased in our own separate ways.
Yeah.
Do we have that one? We got to find that person.
I feel like we need a technical expert and a fashion expert that can judge on the quality of the seamstressing. I don't even know the word for it.
I can probably rope in costume folks easily, like people who work in theatre doing costumes. We can probably drag someone on. We need a Joan Rivers type, though.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, we do.
Oh, Alrin, you
too.
look so fabulous.
And with this Arwen dress, the Grey Havens blue dress, I also want to get a picture of her when she's on the horse with a full cloak, because it's such an awesome cloak.
It is. It is.
And that when she runs up the stairs there in Rivendell and she just drops the cloak and it just sort of billows behind her, it's fabulous.
Let me
Yeah,
double check and ask everybody here. That number 15 Arwen dress, is that her equestrian outfit?
That's
Yes,
her
the riding
equestrian
outfit. Yeah.
That's the
And
that's the
that's-
flight.
That's a
flight
figure.
to
I
the
think
fort.
that's an action figure that you have a picture of
might
there.
be.
Yeah.
Hard to get. Seven
Yep.
is when she comes back from her aborted
that-
journey into the west.
Grey Havens dress.
Yes.
I think what we've determined, by the way, that is Arwen is the fashion, right? Is the fashion icon of the entire trilogies of all.
Although I think
theatrical
Thranduil on his throne is really going to yell at you about that comment.
What you don't see in the Grey Havens scene when she's thinking about leaving and Figwit or Lindir says, "My lady cannot delay," is that at the back of that train of horses and elves traveling, there's a caravan of trunks just because she had to take the water. There was no way she was leaving for the Grey Havens to go into the west without multiple costume changes with her.
Did she pay $50 per extra bag? I mean,
Yes.
Does she have a dresser along with
She
her?
was going to take a boat by herself.
Yeah.
Herself
Yeah,
and
when
her trunks.
Círdan was definitely going to give her a hard time when she got to the Grey Havens. But how much baggage did you bring?
He's like, don't make me put them all on, you know.
Looks like we need a bigger boat.
so that's our bracket, folks. And March 29th, we will start voting on the OneWing.net. We'll be pushing, obviously, on our social channels to participate. We want as much participate, like the team was saying, much participation as you can. Make your voice heard. Show us your pictures. Show us your cosplay.
Yes.
And then tell your friends, because we're going to have these shows and we're going to get pretty contentious. I guarantee it. We did last year with our scenes. We ended up having panels of like 10 people discussing these scenes down to the very end. And we try to put these little presentations together to make it a little more fun, a little more exciting. So
what we should do is definitely work with bringing some other special guests, just as Kirsten was so kindly saying, get people we know in theater and people who I know who do leather working. They make their own gauntlets, they make their own quivers and arrows, and we could get some really good craftspeople to come and talk about the levels of complexity that they have to deal with in making their own costumes. That would be really great.
And for anyone who's ever done a dwarf, to sit there and maybe have a conversation about all of the prosthetics that they went on to for their faces a little bit and stuff like that, because there are several that do prosthetics with that, as well as ears, of course.
A message.
It's
to
one of
the-
the reasons I'm really glad that we added the dwarf women. We have seen some incredible dwarf women cosplay, not only in terms of the fabrics and the layers and armor, but also the hair work that they do and the braiding.
yeah.
It's just some really spectacular stuff.
Yes.
RJ in the chat room says, we sincerely appreciate you all setting this up for us fans. We are spoiled and quite lucky.
Yeah. That's great.
Not like it's
we're
not
excited to get into it. It's going to be fun.
fun.
Yeah, it's very
I can't
fun.
wait. I can't wait. I want people to search out your photos, find images, send them to us. I want to see your cosplays. That's my favorite thing. It's just the first time I ever went to a convention, I could not get over the costuming that I saw. I was just blown away by it. And so that's what I really hope, is that we get to see lots and lots and lots of pictures from people of the amazingly brilliant cosplays, but also the wacky and hilarious cosplays. I love those ones. And even the kind of, I made this out of cardboard in my kitchen sink, that I love that kind of cosplay too.
We had
I was
one.
going to say, Chris, I have seen a Pippin in Gondorian armor. His name is Tristan, and he was 5 years old, and he went on the cruise to Middle Earth with me down in New Zealand. And during our costume party, he wore his Gondorian armor, because being 5 years old, he was clearly Pippin.
Oh,
was
hey,
quite adorable.
Kathy.
Yes.
Kathy, not to influence anything,
Oh,
but
Yeah.
I wanted to share this with you.
And I have one, I think, of you with Karen in her Rosie Cotton wedding dress, which, by the way, Karen, so I'm going to post a picture of Karen in her wedding dress, even though she's not wearing the yellow that Rosie wears. Her dress is pink and purple. But yes, this is an awesome dress of Charwin. We love Charwin.
You know, it was so nice of my sister. It was so nice of my sister to dress up like Arwen and put on all that extra makeup.
And the ears. I remember Debbie putting the ears on.
And I think my sister even, you know, like, it was just such a nice, good job of my sister to do this. So.
That's what losing the bet will do for you.
Yep.
Oh, yes. I showed my daughters that.
At least you should know that you're not the first cosplay or crossplay.
Oh, is this what it's called? Crossplay?
Well, there's a couple different ways. There's either wearing the opposite gender for what you are, and then there's taking the character and like putting
right
like a Frodo in a skirt.
Well, that was cool. Yeah, but you said me. It's my sister, remember? So
Charwin, yes. Charwin.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Right.
The beautiful Charwin. The best picture of Charwin is the one in the men's bathroom going to the urinal.
We're not going to ever use that one.
We're not going to show that one.
No.
Oh no!
Ron has that one.
We have that picture. That picture is available. We should make a T-shirt out of that.
Your sister is not a good-looking woman, Chris.
I know. I agree.
Hey, Jim. So give us some insight of how fans should consider their voting process as we go into March Madness. What are things to look out for? What are things to consider before they cast their vote on Monday?
Is this a general question, or
just general? Yeah,
general. Yeah. You know, like Kirsten's been reminding us that there is an inclination to vote for your favorite character. I guess I'd say, who would you most like to embody? What is what's the accoutrement, the outfit? A lot of actors say that they really don't get into character until they put the costume on. And so as a voter, it's like, which of these would you be, like Kirsten said initially, when she saw that dress, this is what I wanted to cosplay as. So for me, that's very much on my mind, because I think I've got four or five. I've lost track. I'm devastated, for example, that because he's not in the movies, Bombadil is not in the cosplay.
So let me ask you this: if there's a character that maybe only has one outfit, let's say Toriel. I don't know if I'm a big fan of Toriel in the movies, but I love the cosplay that she has created among the fandom. Should the amount of cosplay and the quality of all that, and just the energy around the cosplay of an outfit, influence my vote?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, and I sometimes like the complexity. For me, it's, I mean, I chose Eowyn because I more identify with the Rohirrim, and she was my first female hero. You know, when I read the books when I was a kid. But looking at like the gold dress that she wears at the coronation, most people don't know, and it was only because they had the costume on display at Comic-Con that I realized she has an underdress on that has sleeves, and then she has the dress, and then she has this full cloak, and you know, there's bead work, and there's a belt, and there's a layer. I mean, there's so many layers and so much handcraftness that went into it. With it's Nyla Dixon for the Lord of the Rings, and I don't remember who the costume designer was for The Hobbit. But some of those layers in that design work, I mean, when you look at some of the dwarves, when they design them, how many layers and the designs, the facade design work that they put in, that angular versus the round and everything like that of the elves, when you see the culture embodied in the costume, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Now, Chris, when we open up voting on Monday, Take us through the mechanics of voting. Is it a website? Do you only get to
Yeah,
vote
sure.
once? How many days do you have to vote, etc.?
Yeah, the first rounds are usually a couple days. I think the first round is 3 days specifically. But the voting process, you go to the One Ring, you go to the page on the One Ring, and you are voting individually in each matchup. You can only vote once. The system does track a variety of pieces of information to help in that respect. So we use a system. Is it Price Waterhouse that does the Oscars or something? Right?
Arthur Anderson, I thought.
Yeah, maybe they. But yeah, I forget what it was, but I think I'm dating myself significantly by even mentioning Price Waterhouse. Whatever they use, we use the same system, and it's highly scientific.
So we can vote for La La Land, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but we always announce the correct winner.
Well, as opposed to the ballot stuffing that we had 1 year where we had horrific ballot stuffing. So
Yeah, we had some significant ballot stuffing. Sometimes I have to come in as the co-owner of the site and make an executive decision to look at the voting trends, check out the chads, and see if they're fully punched through or if they're not, and then make some decisions. But that's rare, hasn't happened for years. And I can guarantee you, this is one of the most, honest, concise processes. Nothing that I do in the back end would influence these votes at all.
I'm already contesting the vote. Stop the steal. Tariel does not deserve to win.
Your red and blue Arwen cosplay has already influenced my vote to not vote for that
one. Although it's actually one of the most popular of Arwen's dresses.
It is.
Not now.
And so we talked about how you should think about voting. We talked about the technical aspects of voting. Kirsten, can you just run us through what photos and how social media can influence voting?
Well, yeah, Justin, I think you're probably the guy to talk about that more than me, because you're our social media genius. You always have your finger on what's going on with social media. But my thinking was simply get people engaged by sharing your images, post them on the Facebook, as you were saying, Justin, tag us on Instagram, on Twitter, with your images of your cosplays, so that you're getting it out there, like, hey, you should love this costume because look at these cool cosplays of it. Look what I did, or my friend did, or what I saw at DragonCon one year, or whatever. And then we can share them as well. So when we're doing one of our live shows, kicking off a next round, we can say, well, in the next round, we're going to see these two costumes go up against each other. And here's a really cool cosplay of this costume. And you never know, your cosplay might be the one that makes someone go, I'm going to vote for that costume to get through because I'd like to see that one win.
That's a very good point right there. And then my final question, since you're the God Emperor of the One Ring, Chris, someone
God Emperor. I've never heard that one before. That's a good one.
Mean the merciless.
I just have this funny feeling that someone's gonna get injured before the game starts. So where can we slot Alfred the Great?
Oh God.
Into the I feel like it's just an oversight, a wild card spot.
You know what? I actually this year was thinking we need to have a wild card thing because we've got a week now, and I was like, we need to be like, if you want to see one of these costumes replaced by a different one of your choice, run your campaign. You've got 5 days to get your wild card players swapped in.
I feel like we need a wild card.
Look, I'm the commissioner. Just so you know, in sports ball things, there's a commissioner.
Uh-huh.
The commissioner makes the executive decisions. I am making an executive decision right now. What we're going to do tomorrow, create a poll of all the 64 contestants. We will have you vote on which one should be eliminated. We will replace it with an Alfred wild card.
An Alfred? Why an Alfred?
Why not?
Because that's
what I'm talking about.
Alfred and drag them.
Which
Alfred and
Alfred?
drag, or
Look
Alfred
at Cliff's face.
in Lake Town.
Did you see Cliff's face when you said why Alfred?
He's muted. He's muted.
Definitely Alfred in drag as a crazy Joker. That would be like playing the fiddle while Rome burned.
Let it be written.
I love it.
Let it
That'll
be
be
said.
written. Okay, so you're just going to pop up the thing and say you all get to vote for one. How should, well, you'll create it. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be hilarious.
Chris,
One poll.
let's-
This will be one poll. You are voting for which contestant does not deserve to be there.
for the
Which
wild
one-
card spot.
Which one tests positive for COVID before we launch the contest?
And of course, the basketball does have, they have like, I think it's 4 teams on the outside who have to
Yes,
just for
6.
the right to get in. Yeah, 6.
Sports ball, by the way. It's not called basketball. It's sports
You
ball.
may be committed to Alfred, but
UCLA
You
is
could
in
also
the finals
do-
16 because of that.
you could do a play-in of Bard against Alfred.
Oh,
Ooh.
Bard versus, oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Ooh,
Do we want
great.
Bard or do we want Girion on the big giant windlass?
This is mate. Chris, can you bring up the title frame again so we can everyone can see the theme of this year's Middle Earth March Madness?
Yeah, one.
So guys, coming up next week, voting starts next week. We're gonna have live streams all week next week for the next 2 weeks, special on special days, usually in the evenings around this time. We'll get a group of people together to debate all of the contestants for the current round, and then you'll have 2 or 3 days to vote. So next week, plan on spending your evenings watching us online. Maybe you can participate in the chat. We love bringing up comments in the chat, and then that inspires debate. So this is it. The title, the theme of this year's Middle Earth March Madness is Battle of the Best Dressed in Middle Earth. Again, we're judging the costumes and the cosplay of the characters.
The movie
Yep.
costumes, yes.
Just stay tuned. Tomorrow we will have a play-in. We'll figure it out. I'll work with Kirsten. To make it happen, and we'll, at the minimum, tomorrow evening-ish, or maybe when we'll have the bracket, because of play-in, and maybe we'll do 2 polls. Maybe we'll figure it out, but we'll do a play-in,
We'll figure it out.
and we'll get a wild card in there.
I love the idea of Bard versus Alfred.
We had
It's
a question,
hilarious.
question from
Hilarious.
Omar. What time Monday? I mean, some people are eager to get their vote in first.
Ideally, if because the One Ring pays us a lot of money, so we work on the weekend.
The good thing is that the person who usually makes the post is I.
Yep.
And I'm in the UK, so I'm ahead of most of the people who are going to be. So it will be up by kind of 9 a.m. East Coast time, because I'll already have been up for several hours, and we'll make sure it goes up Monday morning. So from American time, you can say from first thing Monday morning, those categories will be open. On the rest of them, they'll actually kind of kick off probably at the very end of the day before, or at midnight time, because we usually kick it off after we've announced on the live show in the evening, and then that starts the vote for the next bracket. But you can always assume by American time frames that when you first thing in the morning on the day that the vote opens, it'll be up.
Guess what I found in the One Ring archives? The stress balls that we gave away in 1999 at Dragon Con.
And I have
How
an
did you-
Oliphant.
Where'd you get that?
I got a box full of old One Ring stuff. Like
No, not the original ones.
the logo's rubbed off, but I don't remember getting. This has to be the One Ring ball. Because
Let me see it. Let me see it. I'll tell you. I made them.
You
Nope.
made them.
They were white.
They were white. Okay, this is a
Yep.
silver one. Just a,
Yeah,
I've got one.
Jim has one. Jim
I've got one right here. I've got one right
Jim
here.
does have one. Jim
Guys,
does have
this is
one.
how serious we take fandom. We gave away stress balls as our first swag.
But that was Imagine Con, okay, which doesn't exist anymore. That was Bill Corvar and I that printed up the stress ball.
Yeah.
That was Imagine Con.
I don't know.
Was that
There you
before
go.
Comic-Con then in 2001?
Yeah. We must have brought extras somewhere.
Because I
Oh
met
my
you
gosh,
guys at Comic
That's in good condition too. Look at that.
Yeah. Now, we used to have a T-shirt, and when I got busted on the Jamie Kennedy experiment, they digitally blurred out this logo on the front of my shirt
Yeah,
because
that was
they didn't think they could broadcast it.
that
So
was when I was really into Futura, and I thought it was cool. And
I don't think so, Cliff.
That's
don't
correct.
mess with that logo. Hey,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a
Don't
collector's
squeeze
item.
it. Don't squeeze.
Don't do that.
Oh, Chris. Hey,
You know, it's in perfect, flawless condition. 20 years old plus, maybe.
Plus.
Like all of us, we haven't aged a day.
I'm a wonder.
And it's a fan.
So if you think fans are stressed about stuff now, it doesn't compare to where we were 20 years ago.
That was also when we did. Remember they probably still do this, where you took PVC pipes, put pool noodles on them, and wrapped them in duct tape, and then beat each other with them. We did that at that time.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well, too.
Yeah, and no lightsabers. Hey, Nadia in the chat room, I just want to shout it out. Says, guys, you bring me so much joy. I was kind of sad an hour ago, and now I'm laughing.
Nice.
Well, let's do it all next week. Let's do it multiple times next week over the couple weeks.
Well, I love the fact that we will get together on, what is it, April 1st? April Fool's Day?
April Fool.
Yeah, we won't be lying to you at all that day.
Oh my gosh! Is that really when it starts?
That's the ending of voting.
The end of the first round.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's the end of first round of voting.
That's
And
gonna
then
be
the
fun.
surprise, Alfred wins the whole thing in the first round.
Oh my God.
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. That would be crazy. All right, now we have had a really wonderful.
Alfred and Drag versus Charwin.
Oh God.
No.
Oh,
Even
God.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh my God, Kathy.
Wait, I shouldn't.
Well,
think it's a good idea.
we have probably reached the end of our allotted
Yes.
time this week, and
Yes.
I gotta say, what an extraordinary experience! I want to say very big shout out to all the wonderful audience. There's a lot of people in our live chat on all the different platforms, and again, get out your photographs, get out your old hard drives that have your convention pictures from years ago. Bring them, because there's 20 years worth of costumes that can be brought to the fore, and we're going to celebrate together all the creativity of all of you wonderful fans. And to our special guests who have joined us tonight, Kirsten Green Dragon, Jim Wirt, Kathy Garfe-Mao, Charwin Kalasuri, Chris, wait a minute, there's Justin over there, and myself, on behalf of myself, Clifford. It's a pleasure to have you all here with us again, and get ready, Monday is coming up very quickly for March Madness. Any final words, anybody?
Thank you. We look forward to this year's competition.
It's gonna be fun, and we can't end without Cliff giving his special salutations.
We say many things around here, around this house, but we like to say good night and good luck, and also to everyone until next Tuesday. Of course, we'll be here Monday as well, and many shows beyond. But until next time, good night and good luck, or I like to say buenos noches y buena suerte. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.